Have you ever felt like a stranger in your own history? Like the stories you were told were just carefully curated snapshots, leaving out the shadows? That's the story of Linh and the KNHTTN, the ancestral mirror. This isn't just about a magical object. It's about the heavy, humid air of Hanoi. A city where the past isn't just remembered, it breathes alongside you. Imagine the humidity in Hanoi. It doesn't just sit on your skin. It's a living entity, sharing your every breath. Linh felt it. Now, her back pressed against a damp brick wall in an alley so narrow it forced an intimate dance between strangers. Cradled in her arms, wrapped in stained silk, was taken Teche. Ine, the ancestral mirror. It was her family's most sacred heirloom, a supposed key to their lineage. Outside this sliver of an alley, the city performed its daily symphony. The high-pitched whine of 1,000 motorbikes, the rhythmic thwack of a street vendor's cleaver hitting a block of lemongrass, the tinny echo of a government announcement from a distant speaker. It was the sound of modern Hanoi, vibrant and chaotic. Linh carefully unwrapped the silk. The mirror's frame was dark rosewood, intricately carved with weeping willows that seemed to shiver in the dim light. But the glass was strange. It wasn't clear. It had a liquid, oily sheen, like moonlight trapped in a puddle of gasoline. It held secrets. With a deep breath, Linh held the mirror up. This was the first activation, the moment of truth. She aimed it at the street vendor across from her, a woman in a conical hat selling bowls of bee and shake from a small cart. But through the glass, the scene warped. The plastic blue stools vanished. The bright neon sign of a popular coffee shop dimmed, replaced by the flickering orange glow of a tallow lamp. The woman in the reflection was not the vendor from 2026. Linh saw her own great-grandmother, Huang, standing in this exact spot 80 years ago. But the image was unsettling. Huang wasn't smiling. She was handing a heavy, wax-sealed envelope to a French officer. The transaction felt illicit, heavy with unspoken consequences. A voice, cold as mountain water, whispered from the glass itself. The price of the land was a name. Lin's breath caught in her throat. Her family's land, their foundation, was bought with a betrayal. Just then, a delivery driver on a motorbike swerved past her in the real world, shouting a curse. The French officer turned, and for a heart-stopping second, his eyes met Lin's through the 80-year gap. His face wasn't triumphant or cruel. The mirror had revealed the first crack in her family's pristine narrative. It wasn't just a window to the past. Every time she passed an ancient banyan tree or a colonial-era villa, the rosewood frame grew hot against her skin. She found herself drawn to the legendary Kim Lake, the lake of the restored sword. In the center, the turtle tower stood stoic in the morning mist, a symbol of Hanoi's resilience. She lifted the mirror toward the water, her heart pounding. The modern tourists with their selfie sticks and bright jackets blurred into a gray haze. And then, the mirror showed her another secret. It revealed her grandfather, a man celebrated his entire life as a war hero, a pillar of the family. But in the reflection, he was a young man, furtively burning a stack of documents. The mirror hummed, a low vibration that resonated in her bones. We are built on a foundation of silences. Her grandfather wasn't the son of the patriarch. He was the son of the enemy. An inconvenient truth tucked away into the family tree to preserve a dying estate and a noble name. The spiritual weight of these revelations was clashing violently with the raw, urban energy of the city. A group of teenagers in oversized streetwear walked past, their portable speaker blasting V-pop. The bass throbbed through the air, a physical assault on the fragile connection to the past. As the sound waves hit, a thin, jagged line spider-webbed across the mirror's surface, right across her grandfather's face in the reflection. The truth was fragile, and the present was fighting to shatter it. These enchanted heirlooms weren't just tools for observation. They were debts coming due. The more she saw, the heavier the mirror became, as if it were absorbing the weight of every hidden life. By the time she reached the iconic Longbian Bridge, a skeletal giant of rusted iron spanning the Red River, her arms ached as if she were carrying a dozen bodies. Under the bridge, amidst the thunder of passing trains and the constant stream of motorbikes, she held up the mirror one last time. This reflection was the most overwhelming yet. It showed the hidden ones, the relatives erased from the family altar and forgotten. A great-aunt who loved another woman, an uncle who questioned the party line, a cousin who sought a truth the family couldn't bear. They crowded the glass, their faces overlapping with the flickering LED lights of the modern city that had forgotten them. They were ghosts trapped in glass, begging for release. Break, Italiano. The voice was her mother's. It was sharp, urgent, and so clear that Lynn spun around. But no one was there. Her mother was miles away, living in the carefully constructed present. Keep this secret, the voice from the mirror pleaded, mimicking her mother's tone. Live in the light of the present. Lynn looked back at the mirror. Among the crowd of faces was a young woman who looked exactly like her. She was standing in the 1920s, weeping, her form flickering as her existence was being scrubbed from the records to protect the purity of the lineage. This ghost self was the price of the family's pristine reputation, the price of truth, the price of silence. Break the mirror and live in the comfortable, polished lie, or accept the fractured, complicated, and painful truth. She didn't break it. Lowering her aching arms, she sank to the grimy pavement. The smell of exhaust fumes and grilled pork from a nearby vendor filled her lungs the scent of her city, real and imperfect. She pressed her forehead against the cool, haunted glass. I see you, she whispered to the weeping girl, to her grandfather, to her great-grandmother, to all the hidden ones. I see you all. A blinding, silver light erupted from its surface, not with a bang, but with a silent, rushing wind. The shadows of the past poured out of the glass, swirling into the humid Hanoi air like smoke. For one surreal moment, the modern city and the ancient spirits occupied the same space. The motorbike driver glanced over his shoulder, sensing a ghost he couldn't quite see. The teenagers listening to V-pop felt a strange, momentary sadness they couldn't explain. Not in a shout, but in a whisper carried on the wind. The lineage was broken, shattered into a million true pieces. But the truth, finally, was breathing. The mirror in her hands was now just a mirror. The oily sheen was gone. The glass was clear and ordinary. It reflected only her own face, tired but resolute. She was a woman with no pure legacy left, no grand narrative to inherit. But for the first time, standing in the beautiful chaos of her city, Lynn felt she finally belonged entirely to herself. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe for more tales that explore the hidden corners of our world and our histories. See you next time.